What is up, everybody? It's BMax Bracketology, and I'm back continuing the series of predicting every single March Madness game here. Today I'm doing the West region, so let's just get into the games right away. We got the 1 seed Florida versus 16 seed Norfolk State. Earlier on Twitter today, I saw something that Norfolk State's coach went on a podcast and said that pray for us. So the fact that he's already saying that, don't love the vibes. Florida's just too talented. They're not even gonna struggle with Norfolk State. If you watch that championship game between Norfolk State and South Carolina State, you know that they can get a little crazy. So I'm going to roll with the 1 seed Florida to win that one pretty easily. And then in the second matchup, we got the 8 seed UConn versus the 9 seed Oklahoma. Both these teams have some shooters, young studs. Fears for Oklahoma, McNeely for UConn. I mean, as a Creighton fan, I watched McNeely light us up in Omaha. He's so talented. Solo ball is really good. Caravan, he's got the experience. So does Diarra. This Oklahoma team coached really, really well. Porter Moser, he has NCAA tournament history. So I don't really like betting. A lot of people are like, don't bet against Dan Hurley in March. But what about Porter Moser? Like, he is insane in March. He always does good for Loyola Chicago. But, UConn loves to get after the glass, loves to get offensive rebounds, second chance points. And Oklahoma allows a lot of offensive rebounds. I just don't love this matchup for Porter Moser and his team. I'm going to roll with the 8 seed UConn to win this one. And then in the next matchup, we got the 5 seed Memphis versus the 12 seed Colorado State. PJ Haggerty versus Nique Clifford. Count me in. Two of the best players in the country facing off. Nique Clifford pretty much leads Colorado State in every statistical standpoint. I think the leading player on Colorado State for blocks is 0.7, and he's 0.6, so it's pretty much he's right there. I mean, he is such a good defender, such a good rebounder. PJ Haggerty is just a scorer. He knows how to get to the rim. He's a great mid-range shooter, and he can bring it outside. Love those two. Colorado State has been playing at a very, very high level. They've won 10 of their last 11. Memphis has been playing really, really good too, but they just haven't been playing at a high level. They know how to win. They know how to win these type of games. But, Tyrese Hunter's hurt, and I think that's going to be big. I like Colorado State's bench. They were struggling early against Boise, but Bowen Bourne is a big X factor here. He can light it up. I like Colorado State more as a team. I think they're deeper. So I'm going to roll with the 12 seed Colorado State to upset the 5 seed Memphis. And then we got the 4 seed Maryland versus the 3 seed Grand Canyon. This is kind of one of those matchups where, Grand Canyon was expected to be a little bit better this year, maybe pushing for an at-large. Tyann Grant Foster didn't really have as good of a season as a lot of people expected him to have. And this Maryland team, it's the crab 5. Their starting 5 is so good, so deep. Everything about them is just incredible. They fit so well together. I think that they just do everything better than Grand Canyon. I don't see an aspect of this game where Grand Canyon can really win this one. So I'm just going to roll with the 4 seed Maryland to win this one. And then in the next matchup, we got a really, really high anticipated game. We got the 6 seed Missouri versus the 11 seed Drake. And, Missouri is a very, very small team. They pretty much have 5 guards to start in their lineup. And Drake isn't really big either. So I think this is going to be a guards game. Bennett Sturts, and Tamar Bates are the best players on each team. Mark Mitchell's a stud for Missouri, too. They both have mainly three-point shooters in Grill Mascari. I think this Drake team has a little more inside presence than Missouri. One matchup that I would just not like for Drake at all is a big physical team. And Missouri's not a big physical team at all. They're a small team. And I think Drake, they're going to slow this game down. I think Missouri's going to get a little uncomfortable playing such a slow pace. This Drake team is really solid. I've been doubting them all year, so I'm going to hop on the train right now. Give me the 11 seed Drake to upset the 6 seed Missouri. And then we got the 3 seed Texas Tech versus the 14 seed UNC Wilmington. When you look at this Wilmington team, nothing pops off at the page at you. They're just okay at everything. And that's good enough to win a conference tournament, but is that good enough to win a tournament game? I don't think so. I know Texas Tech is having some injury bugs with Williams and McMillan. I think they'll be back for this one. I don't necessarily think they even need them to win this one. I'm going to roll with the 3 seed Texas Tech to move on. And then we got the 7 seed Kansas versus the 10 seed Arkansas. Talk about a coaching battle. Bill Self. John Calipari in Providence. How can you ask for a better setting in that standpoint? Both these teams are really similar. Don't really rely on the 3. Both physical teams. Arkansas got a lot of talent coming in this year. Coach Cal, Bill Self, he brought in a lot. Both these teams brought in a lot of talent. Kind of disappointed. But I just think overall this Kansas team has too much talent to just been this bad this year. I think they got the experience to pull this off. Mayo, Dickinson, Harris, Adams, those 4 are legit. So I like this Kansas team a lot. I'm going to roll with the 7 seed Kansas to win this one. And then in the final first-round matchup, we got the 2 seed St. John's versus the 15 seed Omaha. I'm an Omaha fan. I'm from Omaha, so it's incredible to see what Chris Crutchfield has been able to do for this program. Just an absolute great coach in his 3rd year in a hard Summit League. Like, Summit League is underrated. And the fact that he was able to win it, just incredible. But, he has to go against the guy who has the most experience in the NCAA tournament, in Rick Pitino. So the guy with the most experience against the guy with the least amount of NCAA tournament experience. Going to be an interesting one. Markel Sutton for Omaha's a dog. But I just don't think they're going to be able to match the physicality that St. John's plays with. Tony Osborne is the X factor in this one. If he can light it up for Omaha, I think that this can be a game. I think it is going to be a game. J.J. White is so good at getting into the hole. Outside of those 3, don't really love anybody on this team. Waddles, I think he can bring a little aspect off the bench. But overall, the St. John's team is too physical, too tough. I'm going to roll, and it's pretty much in their backyard where Coach Pitino played, or coached earlier. So I'm going to roll with the 2 seed St. John's. And then in the round of 32, we got the 1 seed Florida versus the 8 seed UConn. That term where it goes like, don't bet against Dan Hurley in March? Well, unfortunately, I think I'm going to do it. This Florida team is too talented for UConn. UConn just doesn't have an advantage in this game. Florida is so good at every little thing. They're deep. They play great. They shoot the ball amazing, and UConn will just not be able to keep up. Give me the 1 seed Florida to win this one. And then we got the 12 seed Colorado State versus the 4 seed Maryland. Colorado State is one of those teams that just does not take care of the ball amazingly. So that's why I like that matchup versus Memphis, just because they don't force a lot of turnovers, the Tigers. But, I just like the ability that Maryland has. Their starting 5 is so good. The Colorado State is not a really big team. I think Queen and Reese are going to have a field day inside. Love the ability that those 2 have. Gillespie, Rice, and Miguel. Gosh, that starting 5 is so good. Colorado State just won't be able to keep up, and they will struggle to take care of the ball. Give me the 4 seed Maryland to win this one. And then we got the 11 seed Drake versus the 3 seed Texas Tech. This is the matchup that Drake just does not want. They don't want to see a great center in JT Toppin, and they're going to see that here. JT Toppin's going to have a field day. I think Bennett Sturts can keep this game close, slow down the pace. He is a pace controller. They don't like to get out and run, and they have shown that they aren't going to. They never are. They always take the possessions late into the shot clock. Love that aspect of them. If this team's on, this Texas Tech is going to be uncomfortable, but overall, I just think Texas Tech is going to be too much. So give me the 3 seed Texas Tech to win this one. And then we got the 7 seed Kansas versus the 2 seed St. John's. Once again, guys, legendary matchup. Legendary Hall of Fame coaches in Bill Self and Rick Pitino. One of St. John's better players, Ejiofor, was on Kansas's national championship team in 2022. So maybe he's going to have a little fire under him that he maybe didn't get a chance to play as much as he thought he should have, because he's a stud, guys. But he's going to have to go against Dickinson. I think that's going to be a hard matchup for him. I just don't think that St. John's is going to get away with being as physical as they have in the Big East. I think it's going to be mainly Red and Providence, but this Kansas team, I think they got too much. I think they're just an overall better shooting team. I think St. John's is going to have a little bit of trouble to score. They don't shoot the ball well. They're very, very reliant on forcing turnovers and getting offensive rebounds. Kansas doesn't really allow offensive rebounds. Can get a little turnover happy, but I just don't think they will. More experienced team. Give me the 7 seed Kansas to defeat the 2 seed here. And then in the Sweet 16, we got the 1 seed Florida versus the 4 seed Maryland. First time I looked at this matchup, I had no clue who to pick, guys. These 2 teams, their starting 5s are so good, both of them. But, one team has a bench and one team doesn't. Maryland, one of their starting 5 guys are off. It's not going to be a good day. It's just not. They need all 5 of them to bring it. They normally do. But just the fact that Florida is a very, very good defensive team. They don't have a single hole in their game. Great. I think Maryland has the better inside players with Queen and Reese over Huff and Condon. But overall, Florida, Walter Clayton, Will Richard, and Elijah Martin. He has Final Four experience. I can't pick against this Florida team. Todd Golden has done an excellent job. Give me the 1 seed Florida to go on to the Elite Eight. And then we got the 3 seed Texas versus the 7 seed Kansas. But they've played each other. I believe Texas Tech went in to Lawrence, the Fog, and defeated Kansas. Texas Tech is just a fiery team. They shoot the ball well from the outside. Kansas doesn't defend that great. I just think that Texas Tech has more talent than Kansas, and it's crazy to say that after looking at what Kansas brought in during the offseason, but I just think Texas Tech is ultimately going to be too much for them. Give me the 3-seed Texas Tech to go to the Elite Eight. And then in the Elite Eight matchup, the winner goes to the Final Four. We got the 1-seed Florida versus the 3-seed Texas Tech. Texas Tech is kind of a shaky defensive team. They're a very, very high-octane offense team. And I think Florida has the guys to shut them down. Condon's a great defender. I just don't think Toppin's going to be as comfortable. The guards aren't going to be as comfortable. Walter Clayton's going to have a day. Hawkins is going to be guarding him. Don't love that matchup for Texas Tech. I just think the overall guard play for Florida's better, and the inside game's better for Florida. Don't love this matchup for Tech. So I'm rolling with the 1-seed Florida to go on to the Final Four to face Auburn. If you saw my previous video, I love this Florida team, guys. This team just knows how to get it done. Like I said, they're led by Walter Clayton, who has been averaging over 20 points in his last couple games. He has just been absolutely amazing. Elijah Martin, already talked about him. He was on that Florida Atlantic team that made the Final Four, so he has NCAA tournament experience that he can bring with this team. The funny thing is Todd Golden's never even won an NCAA tournament game before, and I'm taking them to the Final Four, which is kind of crazy to think, right? But, I like this team a lot. Will Richard, I saw him take over the game against Georgia. They have so many guys that can take over this game. Condon did great against Alabama, and Huff's kind of that guy who can do a little bit of everything, kind of their glue guy, and Aberdeen off the bench. This team is just so talented. I want to pick a non-1 seed so far, but I just don't see it where these teams lose. They're too talented. So I'm rolling with the 1-seed Florida. They haven't made the Final Four since 2014. I remember watching them. I was sick I remember being sick and watching these games. Florida, who did they have on that team? I got to look this up real quick. But, I do remember I was really sick. It was crazy. I think they were led by Billy Donovan in that case. 2014 Florida basketball roster. Dorian Finney-Smith, yes, that's who they had. And I think they had Chris Chioza, but I think he was a freshman, so I don't think he was really. They had Michael Frazier, Scott Wilbeck, and that's who I was thinking about. That dude was an absolute stud. That's the last time they made it. Unfortunately, they didn't cut the nets down, but the last time they cut the nets down was when they had Al Horford, Joakim Noah, and Corey Brewer. So hopefully they can do that this year. I love this Florida team a lot. That's who I'm rolling with in the West region. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hang around. I'm going to be posting those other 2 region videos very, very shortly. Thank you guys so much for watching. BMAX Bracketology out. God bless everyone.